Hello, I'm Amber Bumblebee, and today, Mixbus 5 32C has been released. So I'm going to go over the new features and what I think about them. Let's get on with it. The first big feature that has been added is plugin tagging and plugin tags. So you see, as I type in some tags, like I want to search for a reverb or I want to search for a compressor, it pulls those up without those words needing to be in the name of the plugin. Adding plugins is easy. You select the plugin, you add the tag, that's all there is to it. The only problem I have is that adding tags for multiple plugins doesn't appear to be possible very easily right now. There's new filters that let you just show the effects, instruments, utilities, favorites, hidden things, show everything. You can show the formats, you can show the developer, and you can show the type of audio I/O or MIDI I/O that the plugin supports. If you've been paying attention, you may have noticed something else. All of the plugins in my plugin manager are already tagged, and I didn't do that. The guys at Harrison did that. There's over 3,000 plugins that are pre-tagged. Next, we have 4 very cool scripts that are included. First one is Store Mixer Settings, where you can store mixer settings. You can do these globally or only to the current session, and you can use selected tracks if you want. Then you'll want to recall the mixer settings. So I'll just pull up some settings I saved globally before. And here you can see that the settings are applied as you wish. You have a list of the tracks in the settings on the left-hand side, and then you can apply those settings to whichever tracks in your current project that you want. The next script is the Reset Mixbus Mixer, which resets the mixer. However, it's a little more fine-grained than that. You can reset whichever of the parameters that you want. And a neat feature is that by default, it doesn't remove your plugins, it only bypasses them. If you want to remove the plugins, then you can just select that option. The next script up is the track organizer. This lets you rename your tracks, add them to groups, add comments, and color them in a nice little GUI that is much more pleasant than doing it in the main edit window. There is a preset selection of groups, and it doesn't show you your current groups for some reason, which is kind of annoying. But if you want to edit the groups, you can just click Edit in the Script Manager over the script, and then edit this line and keep it in that format that you see there. The way snapping and the grid works has also changed. Snapping is independent of the grid, and the snapping menu is now organized much more nicely. You can right-click on the snap button to bring up the snap preferences, where you will find that you can now snap to multiple things at once. You can snap to the grid and markers at the same time. So you can snap to the grid, but if there's a marker nearby, it'll snap to it. It's not just the grid and markers either, but region starts, region ends, and region sync points. MIDI notes have velocity bars, and MIDI editing still sucks. A bunch of new control surfaces are supported, and I can't test any of them. VSTs scan way faster. Awesome. Mixbus 32C upgraders and subscribers will get this new plugin called the Ava Legacy Q. This is a modeling of the Series 10 digital equalizer by Harrison. It's basically your standard digital equalizer. Some things I dislike is that the bands are limited in their range, which I can only assume is the way the Series 10 digital equalizer worked. The analyzer is actually kind of cool, and it's actually kind of at the same time. So I'm going to turn on track and you'll see. I'm on a bass track right now, and you can see that the low bands have a lot of resolution. But the downside is that I have to manually set the trim. You can see that at the default setting, it's quite low and you can't see anything. So you have to futz with this the whole time, especially if you have automation going on or the track is particularly dynamic. The A and B bands have low and high pass filters with higher slopes. And other than that, it's basically your standard digital equalizer. There's nothing special here, but if you don't already have a high quality digital equalizer that you like, then this is a fantastic addition. There's a number of small features that have been added, so let me cover the smallest of the small first. The first thing is that you can add a track from the mixer. The pane separators have increased in size to make it easier to move the panes. There's transport controls, that you can float and make as large or as small as you want. On Mac OS, the info bar is at the top. Hooray! 440 MIDI patch files for all of your synthesizers to open them up and have your patches ready to go for program change messages. You can now show the time between the start of the project and the current edit cursor. VSTs can be resized natively in Mixbus, and it's totally broken. A compressor has been improved, and I'm quite sure it sounds better, but it might be my ears tricking me. A expander has been added. A compressor now has a cool little inline display in the mixer as well. That is super neato. So let's slow it down a bit here. Do you notice anything interesting? How about if I open this plugin up with the generic controls, and I click this button? There's a little CPU profile box showing you how long it takes for that processor to complete its calculations. Let's explore what that means. Your DAW processes audio in blocks. Each block is a fixed number of samples that you set as your buffer size. So in order for audio to come out, each block has to be processed before the next block. A block is a specific number of samples, and due to the sample rate chugging along, that means a block is a specific amount of time. Most DAWs don't actually measure the amount of CPU power being used. They measure how much time is left to process each buffer. So if our project takes 2 milliseconds to complete all of the calculations it needs to do, the DAW will tell us that 74% CPU usage is being used. So what if the DAW told us the average amount of time each plugin took to process each buffer? The standard deviation, the minimum time, and the maximum time it took. Wouldn't that be more useful? That's exactly what Mixbus 5 does now, but you have to make sure that you use the generic UI for VSTs and other graphical plugins. So is Mixbus worth it? Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's just barely worth it. I think it's more so worth it because of all the free updates that the Harrison guys give you for each major version. If you don't have a nice digital equalizer, Legacy Q might fill the void for you there. Overall, it's an update that doesn't throw a bunch of awesome features at you. I wasn't looking at the camera, sorry about that. It doesn't throw a lot of awesome features at you, but it does throw a lot of small user requests. Things that will improve your workflow and probably save you dozens of hours over the next couple months. So you've seen what's there. You have to make the decision for yourself. Right now, the price is $79. Thank you for watching. Like, dislike, please subscribe. I need subscribers. Everybody needs subscribers. That's why we tell you to subscribe. Have an awesome day. Check out my website, admiralbumblebee.com. Look in the description below to see the text-based article for this, and I'll see you next time.